All right, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the April 2022 Zoning Board of Appeals meeting for the town of Carmel. The way we operate, well, the board members' names are in front of you. Mike Carnazza, our code inspection officer, and Greg Fulchetti is our town council. The way we operate is I'll ask you to come up to the board, call your name, I'll swear you in, and whoever else is going to be speaking, I have to swear in as well, unless you're an attorney. So then we will go through your case. You will be questioned and commented by the board, and then we'll open it up to the public. Once the public has had a chance to speak, we will close the hearing, and there'll be no further input on any application at that point.
And there's only 5 of us.
And there's only 5 of us tonight, so please all stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, the first case tonight was a holdover from last month. It's application of John Regan for variation of section 156-15, seeking a use variance for permission to legalize existing third apartment. The property is located at 1751 Route 6, Carmel, New York. It's tax map 55.6-1-24. The code requires and allows no mixed-use variance granted to allow 2 families with office below from 6/1998, and what's provided are 2 apartments approved. Request permission to expand non-conforming use to a third apartment. The variance they're seeking is an applicant seeks to expand existing 2-family with office approved by ZBA in 1998 by adding a 3rd studio apartment from an existing empty space which has been residentially occupied for over 10 years. The applicant will in turn waive the previous ZBA approval to add a garage. Okay, good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. My name is Frank J. Smith III, attorney from the Law Office of Schilling and Smith on behalf of the applicant. With me this evening is Mr. John Regan, the applicant, along with our project architect, Joel Greenberg, and his associate, Vince Pecora.
Excuse me, may you swear Joel in? Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God. Thank you. Guys, just do me a favor, speak clearly and distinctly into the microphone. It's being recorded, obviously, for minutes.
Okay. As noted, the property is located at 1751 Route 6, Carmel, New York, 10512. The property has a tax map number of 55.6-1-24. The property is comprised of roughly 1.4 acres and is located in a commercial zoning district. Currently existing on the premises is a mixed-use structure. It contains 2 apartments, 1 2-bedroom, 1 3-bedroom, a downstairs office, and a studio apartment, roughly 400 square feet. The property is also serviced by municipal water and municipal sewer. The relief requested this evening is an expansion of a non-conforming use to legalize the studio apartment and also a waiver of the previously approved garage. In support of our application, this office provided you with the applicant's affidavit, a memorandum of law, the inspection report from the time of purchase, photographs, and a profit and loss statement. The applicant purchased the property in 2007. At the time of purchase, the applicant's home inspector continuously referred to the studio. At the time of purchase, the units were occupied, and since 2012, the studio apartment has been occupied by the same tenant. The property consists of 1 2-bedroom apartment, 1 3-bedroom apartment, an office, and the studio. In December of 2020, the town conducted a fire inspection, and at that time, the report noted that the additional unit must be addressed. The additional unit is the studio in question. This was the first time the applicant became aware of any issues related to the studio. This property was granted variances in both 1996 and 1998. The 1998 variance permitted the building of a 2-car garage and the expansion of one of the apartments. That initial application also sought an apartment above the garage, which was denied. The approval in 1998 never took place. Construction never began, the garage was not built, and the apartment was not expanded. Along with the application, I mentioned the memorandum of law in support. This property is currently recognized as a legally pre-existing mixed use, and tonight we are seeking an expansion of that mixed use to provide for a kitchen in the studio apartment and to legalize it. When determining the expansion of a non-conforming use, the board must utilize use variance standards, although it is not a true use variance. The use proposed is consistent with the zoning district, but the board must consider the use variance criteria when determining the application. There are 4 criteria to consider when analyzing a use variance. First and most importantly, the board must consider, if the variance be granted, whether it would change the essential character of the neighborhood. In this instance, it would not. The studio has existed since at least 1998 and has been occupied by the same tenant since 2012, 10 years. There are no structural changes being proposed, and the approved garage will not be built. The surrounding properties in that area are also very similar in nature. Next, the board must consider whether the applicant can realize a reasonable return and his economic hardship. In our application, marked as Exhibit E, there is a profit and loss statement showing that the property is operating at a loss. It's well established that the burden of proving economic hardship is most burdensome on a legally pre-existing non-conforming use. In this case, the property is a house in a commercial district. There are no other uses, and again, it is operating at a loss. There's also next to no market for a 4-bedroom apartment in this particular area. Next, the board must consider uniqueness. In this case, the applicant purchased the property with no knowledge of illegality, and the current use has been in existence for over 20 years. And to reiterate, the studio has been occupied by the same tenant for the past 10. Additionally, this board in 1998 granted approvals to expand. That expansion was through the garage and the upstairs area. That expansion never took place, and that, in addition, makes this particularly unique. Lastly, the board must consider whether the hardship to the applicant was self-created, and in this case, it most certainly was not. The applicant purchased the house as is with no knowledge of illegality. At the time of purchase, there were no municipal violations with the town. The applicant had no knowledge of any issues related to the studio until the fire inspection, which took place in December of 2020. At the time of purchase, the applicant relied on his home inspection, advice of counsel, and the fact that there were no violations at the time of purchase. Again, I would like to reiterate that this is not a standard use variance, but an expansion of a non-conforming use that utilizes use variance criteria. In conclusion, I contend that the applicant meets all 4 criteria of the use variance analysis and would respectfully request that this board grant the relief being sought. Mr. Regan and Mr. Greenberg are available for questions, as am I. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you. Joel, do you have anything to add?
The only thing I would like to add, if just we take a look at the floor plans. First of all, this is the site. As you can see, this is the building. The site around the building is all basically landscape, lawn area. The parking more than meets the criteria for parking requirements for the 3 apartments and for the insurance business downstairs. Again, these are the floor plans, and this is the office downstairs, which is off this driveway, and then these are the 2 floors above. And as you can see, this is the 2 and 3 bedroom apartments. This is the studio, this little L. It consists of basically 1 room, a bathroom, and as actually at the planning board, Mr. Carnaz suggested that we put a small utility kitchen, which we should now show on the plan. So basically, the footprint of the building has never changed. As Frank said, this has been occupied by the same tenant for 10 years, and there's certainly no burden on either the sewer or the water districts. And again, this perimeter has never changed. It's the same as it was back in 1998.
And where was the approved garage addition supposed to go?
The approval for the garage was supposed to be in this area between this parking lot and the existing building. It was supposed to be in this area here, actually right behind the funeral home, which is over here. This is the funeral home over here.
Okay.
But again, that building was not built. This area is well kept, well landscaped, and again, just to reiterate, I'm repeating myself, but the perimeter of the footprint of this building has never changed.
Okay. In
And
light
of course, the garage and the proposed apartment above the garage were never built.
In light of knowing what's coming with the master plan that's forthcoming, I don't know, Mike, when is that supposed to be adopted? The master plan, when is that supposed to be adopted? After,
I would say within a year from now.
Yeah.
The town is in the process of, there's a draft plan, now the zoning modifications to meet the concepts of the plan are being done, and it still has to go through seeker, and that's a type 1. So, obviously COVID affected it
Yeah.
in terms of the process, but I know that the consultant is shooting for the end of this year.
Can I just add something to that, Mr. Chairman? One of the things, because, in discussing, talking with Pat Cleary, who's the town planner, one of the things that is definitely, I believe, going to be part of the new master plan is to allow commercial on the lower floor with apartments above.
That's why I'm asking the
As-
question here.
As you probably all know, I think this is the only town in Westchester and Putnam that doesn't allow commercial with apartments above. It's something that should have been.
That's my point, is that there's some changes that are forthcoming that may benefit the applicant here.
Exactly.
That might prompt them to want to hold off on this. Just asking the question, if they decide not to, that's their prerogative, but,
Well, as Greg said, possibly a year, but who knows how much longer.
yeah. Well,
And I think that Frank has made a very good argument, and as I said, we haven't expanded anything, there's been no additions. This building is exactly the same as it was when that apartment was put in. So I think that's also a plus, and I think Frank has really gone through the criteria for the use variance, even though it's technically not a use variance, but I think we've made the case.
Okay, Rose?
One critical part of the use variance that normally gets shot down is the financials. What you've handed me doesn't satisfy my financial question. I could throw numbers down on a piece of paper. This really isn't something that I think is effective in answering that part of the criteria. I'd like to see something more than this.
So in means of like some invoices or
Yeah, I mean,
utility bills or,
the rental income,
I absolutely understand your concern. The only point that I would make is that this was included in our sworn application to you. Mr. Regan is here if you would like additional testimony to help bolster that this evening. If you would like additional materials, I would not mind getting them, gathering them, and submitting them to you. But I do believe that through our application, our client's affidavit, and then also Mr. Regan being here to answer any questions, I think would satisfy the board. But again, I'm open-minded should you require anything additional.
yeah, it just doesn't, I'm just one vote, though,
So, Mr. Smith, just to ask you, the 65 a month, that's for the studio unit? Is that what that's calling out in Exhibit E? I'm trying, because I'm with Rose, this is just, a Word doc to me. But, you have the total of rental income 5104, and then there's a 1665. What is that?
That's the lowest.
That's minus
That's the lowest.
1665.
That's the difference.
So to clarify, on the left-hand side are operating expenses
Okay,
on a monthly
that's-
basis. On the right-hand side is monthly rental income, and then it's negative 1665.
Okay,
per
so that's your net loss. So
Correct.
what is the specific, for example, and this is, again, something that's missing from here, how much is that studio paying in rent a month? Because again, that would go towards this story as well.
yeah, there should be four
Right,
rents.
we should see the rents here, so we could get an idea of what's going on.
Yeah,
This to me is woefully incomplete, because we don't have that information.
yeah. How much does the
Office.
commercial property bring in? How much are the 3 apartments bringing in? 5104, is that for just the commercial? What is it for? What's the breakdown of the 4 rentals?
Right.
If you would like, Mr. Regan can provide the answers to that tonight, or we can respectfully request an adjournment to next month where I provide you a more detailed breakdown of each unit, the rentals, and hopefully something that would be more satisfactory to your liking.
I'm not saying that Mr. Regan wouldn't come up here and tell us exactly what we're looking for, but I think we would rather have it in writing, with the
Like to
proof
see
with
Understood.
us. with mortgage payments, whatever other, I'm sure that it's easy enough to find out what the insurance is, what the utilities are, things like that,
Rent receipts?
rent receipts, and go from there. I think
Okay.
that's where we're at.
So, Mr. Chairman, respectfully, I would request an adjournment to next month. In that time, I will prepare additional information to be submitted to the board. If it's okay with you, 2 weeks prior to that appearance, would that?
Yeah,
That'd be
please,
great.
please. Sometimes
that
we
would be
get
awesome.
submissions a day before, the day of the meeting, and it's just not
Even a
enough
week
time.
before is fine by me. I don't
Yeah.
know how everybody else feels.
Yeah,
So
No,
week
even a
before
week,
is fine,
week before
Frank.
is fine as well.
Make
But,
it good, make it right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and we'll-
I'll,
and we'll-
I'll look for a motion for a holdover on this
So moved.
application. Do I have a second?
Second.
By- All right, all in favor?
Aye. Thank you, counsel.
All right,
Thank you,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Chairman, members of the board, have a nice
Thank you,
night.
Mr. Regan.
And Joel. And Joel, don't
And
forget.
Joel.
Thank you.
Are you still
I'm not
working?
thanking
You still
Joel.
have, you're
I
still
still
here?
have more,
Yeah.
yes.
Well, thank you later.
Thank you, okay, thank you.
Maybe.
Does the whole board have to
Depends
thank
if you-
Joel? Because I really don't want
What's
to.
that?
Does the whole board have to thank you? Because I don't want to.
No, no, 4 out
All
of
right,
5 is fine.
come on, let's be respectful. We are.
I love Joel.
All right, application number 2 of Christina Felizardo
Just
for
in case they
variation of
have
section
any other
156-15, seeking an area variance for permission to amend previous decision and order from February 27th, 2020. The property is located at 41 Leslie Drive, Mopac, New York, tax map 53.17-1-16. Good evening.
Good evening, everybody, Mr. Chairman. We're just here
Sorry,
because
state your name for the record.
Pedro Felizardo, 41 Leslie Drive.
And Christina Felizardo, 41 Leslie Drive.
Raise your right hands, please. Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
I do.
Thank you. All
So we,
No, you don't have to sign. That's only if anybody comes up to speak from the public. They have to,
so
Right,
we
we have
had,
your-
we had a variance meeting, like
February 27, 2020.
yeah.
Yes.
2020, and we came to a conclusion, an agreement, and there was no objection to the conclusion, but it wasn't written down on the final paper, I guess.
The decision
So
in order.
I got hit with the violation, which then I went to Mike and I showed him the minutes and I said, look, this is what we agreed on. But only the fence was written down and I ended up planting all trees.
Okay.
And, which is 38 trees.
Big expense.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, so you guys are here to clear that up. Unfortunately, it wasn't clarified properly in the decision and order, but I believe it was the intent of this board to allow for trees to be grown, which can be construed as a fence
Correct.
when they're planted in line. That said, anything that's living is allowed to be planted at 4 feet and grow higher. When it's a man-made structure such as a fence or a solid stockade or whatever type of variety, it has to be maintained and set at no higher than 4 feet. So I believe that was the intention here, and maybe it wasn't as clear, right, Mike, on the
Yeah, the
decision and order?
decision came down that it said that you're only allowed to do a fence of 4 feet for the first X amount of feet. I don't have it in front of me.
Yeah.
So when it said you could only do a fence, and if you look at the definition in the code, it says hedges, fences, hedges, trees, and bushes planted for that purpose, meaning along a line, are considered fences. So in our interpretation, reading the code, we had to call that a fence. It's over 4 feet, so they got a violation for
Right,
that.
with the intent of screening and just like a fence
Absolutely.
would do, it's construed as fencing, so.
Well, we learned something,
Yeah.
so.
In the past, we've always considered shrubbery and natural barriers
Non-fence.
non-fences. So this took us all for a,
You actually have
Surprise.
required trees in a line to buffer something,
Right. We've done
which
that a
are
bunch
bigger
of
than
times.
what's allowed. I mean, you've
Right.
done it that way as well,
For
so.
sheds.
Right, to hide the fence or hide it, right,
Generators or what have you.
right.
Well, that's why we went with the, with the trees, because it just goes with natural,
Yeah,
you
it's
know.
natural
It's-
landscape.
And
It's
it
perfect.
came out,
It's
I mean, it
pretty.
cost me a fortune, but,
it looks beautiful. I was out there, it does look
but yeah,
beautiful.
thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
I'm
They
sure.
look nice.
Yeah, you
John,
do.
any comments from the board on this?
Those are hemlocks you planted?
They're spruce, some type of
Spruce.
spruce. My friend was a landscaper.
Very nice.
Saved me a couple bucks, but
Some type
I ended
of-
up doing most of the work.
We'll clarify
So-
it now. We'll clarify everything.
You guys good? Any-
No
No further
questions.
questions?
No
All right.
Questions?
Any input from the public on this application?
Thank you.
Step on up. Good evening. State your name and address for the record. Yes, please. Yeah. All right, ma'am, you can use that microphone unless you can turn that one down towards your mouth.
This is, can you hear me fine?
You know what, use the handheld if you don't mind. Just raise your right hand, or state your name and address for the record first, please.
Dr. Elaine Gilhooly, 34 Leslie Drive.
And you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do, yes.
Thank you.
I do.
Use
You
the
can- Yeah,
handheld,
great, just use the handheld.
right there. Thank you.
Is it on already? Yeah.
Do you have
Perfect.
visuals or something you have to hold up?
Yeah.
Vinny, you got a second? Come on out and adjust the mic stand if you could. Is he back there? Oh, he's coming.
No,
Yeah,
he's
just-
moving,
just
he's
bear
moving.
with us.
He's moving.
So put this one down.
He's gonna bring one out.
He's got another one.
Better? Well,
I guess so.
you can, yeah, I think you can turn that down towards your mouth.
There you go.
Yeah, okay. Hi, so I guess I'm a little bit confused because we came to the meeting 26 months ago, my husband and I, and we stood here and it was a variance to put in a 6-foot fence where only 4 is permitted, and we objected along the 25% that is closest to our driveway, and the variance was denied along there. And so we anticipated that there would only be a fence of 4 foot high in that area, like you had said, and thereafter it would be 6 foot. So now a living fence has been put in, and the living fence is currently about 7 to 8 feet tall for the entire, length. But the only area that's in, I guess, to us is a little bit disturbing is that the section closest to our house is not capped at 4 foot. And the town code says that, hedges, plantings, and other living fences shall be considered as fences if placed on the site for such purpose. So I guess the conclusion that the applicant alluded to, we weren't privy to that, although we were here until after 11 o'clock at night on February 27th. And so I'm a little bit surprised or confused as to what happened.
During the conversation that we had with the applicant last time, there was discussion regarding planting of a living barrier, whether it be, evergreens or in addition to the fence.
Right.
There was
Yes.
tons of discussion regarding
Yes.
having a fence and did not wanting to see the fence so you could put something in front of it or whatever. As we mentioned earlier, the section that you just read regarding
Right.
a living fence was not something that we were privy to. But in the discussion for the decision, we said and we were clear that they would be allowed to plant something in excess of 4 feet, in addition to that 58.49 stretch.
Correct.
I guess I don't see that anywhere in the minutes.
It is in there. I just read them. So that's where we're coming from.
I'm sorry, I'm still confused. I don't see which page this on.
Hey,
Because
wh-
we-
What's
we
your
have-
objection to the shrubbery being there? Wouldn't you prefer seeing that than opposed to a fence?
Well, no, our principal objection when we stood here on the February 27th was of safety. We have young children, and that is SAFETY. I know that in the minutes it was spelled as CFD. So we objected on grounds of safety.
Yeah, I got
That because we have, at that time, our youngest was 2, well, now she's 4. And so we anticipated that the first section would be 4 foot high. But the first section isn't 4 foot high.
Okay, so safety in what sense? Your driveway comes down?
Right,
their
you
driveway
can't see-
comes
the-
down.
the photos that
You
were-
need to see their driveway when you're coming out of
You
yours?
actually say in there, in the minutes, I don't want to see into their property.
I don't, I have no,
All
I
right,
have
so
no.
why
Yeah,
do you
why
care
do you
if there's
I,
these
I don't
shrubs
want,
here?
I don't want to see into their property, but I want my children to be seen. If I could just show you.
So how are
what's
they
unsafe
unsafe?
about your children
I
with
can't
a-
understand this. How are they unsafe?
Because they put something up which obscures our driveway. I have lots of videos of, they have a lot of
And if
deliveries.
We've been out to the property. It's not being obscured. Come on.
Okay, it seems like you guys are taking
This-
advantage
this
of
is-
this
this
board
is-
for a
this is-
civil situation, which
Right.
has to be taking matters somewhere else.
No,
Right.
So-
it's not, it's about safety. If I could just show you a photo. if you
We've
could
already
We've
just-
explained our
already seen
point,
it.
we've read the
And
minutes,
we've
and we
been by the
understood.
property.
Pardon?
So,
We've been by the property.
Right.
We've seen it. We're okay with it. We're
And
telling you
we
we're okay
reviewed
with it.
everything that you gave us. We read every email, every photo
Right.
I've watched and
But-
seen. So I don't know what the point is. I really
Yeah, I
don't.
can't figure out why we're
Okay.
continuing this conversation.
Well, we're continuing with it because there were directives, and the directives were that it was not.
Okay, so we're
it was-
going to update the directive.
it-
Thank you.
No. It was not to be put in disputable territory, and it is in disputable territory.
That's not for us.
I have
That
photos.
is not for us.
That's not for us.
That is not for
That's
this
not for
body.
us.
That is not for you?
That is
No,
not
it's
for
a
this
civil
body.
matter.
Okay.
If something is on an easement, if something is on your
Yes.
property, you have to go to court for that. That's not,
Okay.
that
That
doesn't
is
come
not for
into
this
play
body.
here.
Okay.
What comes into play here is, we agreed to a 58, a fencing at
Right.
4 feet for that 59 feet, whatever it was.
Yes, 58.49.
58.49 feet. We said that you can have man-made shrubbery, trees,
Natural.
natural.
screening.
We are going to amend the directive so that we can have that. However, if you have a problem with trees being on your property on an easement, that's a civil matter.
Okay, so then it's a civil matter. Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, well, thank you for your time.
You're welcome. Thank you.
You haven't
You
been
have to
sworn
swear.
in.
Swear to tell the
You got
truth,
the
the whole
picture?
truth, nothing but the
Let him
truth?
say his name. State his
I
name.
Yes, you did
So
My
swear.
name is Tom Sexton. I live at 34 Leslie Drive.
Just speak into the microphone, please.
I live at 34 Leslie Drive. My name is Tom Sexton. I'd like to show you, if I may approach the dais.
Sure.
Picture of my 4-year-old daughter and show you.
All right, before you do that, do you want a picture of your 4-year-old daughter in this record?
In the record?
All right, but, so you have no problem with giving us a picture, but you have a problem with trees?
You can't.
Okay.
swear in, please.
This is in our record. This is in our record. Thank you.
But I
When
have
you
to,
come out of their driveway, you can't see our driveway. Our driveway dips down. You came out and did a site visit, I believe, twice
Yes.
now.
You have to be on the
Yes.
mic, sir, and back up,
Yeah.
please.
Thanks, Phil.
You did a site visit twice now. The first time you came out, you said safety is an
yes,
issue.
absolutely, 100%.
And now it's even more of an issue because they've put the trees so close to the right-of-way.
If I may, if safety's such an issue, why are you allowing your daughter to be so close to the
We
street?
don't. We have an orange fence that we pull
But
across.
she's 4 years
It's a
old.
300-foot driveway.
Okay, I'm gonna leave that one alone.
You know, she's 4 years old. She can run through those
Okay.
trees and get to the passing.
We'll just do
And if the trees weren't there, she could run through there anyway. I don't
No, if there
understand
was
the
a,
point.
if there was a 4-foot fence, which they requested in their original variance request, you can't run through a fence.
You can climb over a fence? You can
Not-
go under a fence?
No, you can't.
Okay.
Look at the size of her. You haven't even seen her.
That is a long driveway, and I'm surprised your daughter would be that far from the
Exactly.
house without adults being around her.
4 years
We're
old.
always there, but have you ever chased a 4-year-old?
Absolutely, I've
And,
raised
and
3
you
kids
know
and
how,
have
and you know
kids.
how quick they are.
100%. But that's a long driveway.
Do you keep the photo?
I'm sorry?
Are you keeping the photo?
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
submitted for the record, did you not?
I asked
You
if
want
we
it
wanted
back?
to have it.
I
I
have
would,
no problem with you keeping the photo.
Okay, we'll do it civilly.
You know, in your minutes, Chairman Maxwell, you told the applicants not to encroach on
I
the
know.
right-of-way and not to encroach of our property.
And
again,
They-
that's for civil
That's-
court,
That
not
is
for
the
us.
procedure.
We
Not for
can't, we
us.
can't
Well, then why-
mandate and follow every person and their every action.
You
It's
put it,
impossible.
why did you say it in your minutes then? If you
Excuse
weren't
me,
going to
sir,
enforce
We
it?
cannot
If
mandate
you weren't going
what
to
people-
enforce it?
I'm going to ask you to leave if you're going to raise your voice with me, okay?
I'll leave, my wife can handle it.
I will leave.
Do you have more to add, ma'am?
No, I just was surprised that it was changed after we left, but, you know, we'll take it up in a civil court. I
Please
just thought
do,
that you guys
okay?
would enforce it.
I'll look for motion to close the
So
public
moved.
hearing on this application.
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Next application is number 3, Brett Brown and L.C. Russell for a variation of Section 156-15, seeking an area variance for permission to remove garage complete and add a larger garage for boats, car. The property is located 161 Westlake Boulevard, Mahopac, New York, tax map 64.19-1-44. The code requires and allows 40-foot front, provided is 23.6, variance required of 16.4. 15 feet rear, what's provided is 8.58 feet, and a 6.42 variance is being requested. And 15-foot side 9.5 feet is existing, and 5.5 feet variance is being requested. Good evening, folks.
Hi.
State your names and address for the record.
Elsie Russell, 161 Westlake Boulevard.
Brett Brown, 161 Westlake Boulevard.
If you're both going to speak simultaneously, you can use the other mic. Raise your right hands. Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Can you please be civil this evening? All right, bring us through, actually, you guys were here, we granted you a variance prior, but I guess something has changed that,
Yes, so previously we were here in June 2021, where the variance was granted. At the time, or just to recap, we had a two-car garage that we were tearing down and wanted to put in a larger one. The front corner that is closest to the street there is, the same corner that is being utilized, and it's just going further back to the one side. Once afterwards, and we had started construction, a friendly neighbor informed us that he thought the property lines were slightly different than what we had previously thought they were. So we reviewed the survey, and that we had originally had done in 2017 when we bought the house. After reviewing some of the online GIS instruments, we had the land resurveyed, and it turns out that the property line overall the property is the same size, but slightly shifted further back. Slightly to the other direction. So that's why the variance numbers are changing, simply because it's going in the exact same spot that it was before and where the previous garage was, but the whole lot kind of shifted over.
yeah, and you're basically well-screened on the back side of that. You're not changing the front line along the road, right?
No, we're
That's
not
the
Staying in the
changing
same
it.
corner.
Yeah.
So you're kind of married to what's existing.
We already approved it anyway.
Yeah, it's been approved for
Yeah, it's
that
just
same
the
setback, I
just the
believe.
Front setback change where the town owns more in
And I
front of us.
think there's a vacant lot next to the right. I think they're building a house, but it's probably going to be set much further back than what you are to your property line from what they are going to be to their to the same property
Yeah,
line.
and in between us is a driveway slip that our original survey thought we owned, and the property behind us owns it. So that's where that shifting happened.
Ah, okay. I should know better. I basically grew up in this house. so.
Yeah. And then in addition to, and then after that empty lot is another neighbor over there, and we just have additional support
right.
from him, who is the
Oh,
only,
do
who's
you
the
have those?
closest,
You want-
vi-
are they
who's the
quick
closest
reads?
visible neighbor.
If they're
That's it.
quick reads, you want to read
Or
it
do you
quick?
want to just at least read their names?
Yeah.
Or tell us their names?
You can read it quick. Yep. So This is from Marshall Hubner. This is his email to us. As you know, we live at 177 Westlake Boulevard, and thus, with the exception of the undeveloped parcel between your proposed garage and our driveway, are your and proposed garage's nearest neighbors on our shared side of Westlake. You have been wonderful neighbors since you moved in, and your property and its visual appeal have only improved. To the extent helpful, please note that we support your request to replace your garage with a bigger and better new one, which I'm sure will be in excellent taste. Best of luck with the project.
All right. We will humbly accept that letter and submit it to the record. Board members, John, down to the left.
No questions.
No questions.
No.
No questions, thank you.
No questions, as long as it hasn't moved location.
Yeah. Doesn't seem like it.
Any input from the public on this application? Doesn't look like it.
Thank
All right, look for a
Motion to
the hearing.
close.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Have a
much.
good night. All right, number 4, application of Silvano Di Renzo for variation of section 156-15, seeking an area variance for permission to install a pool with a deck and a covered patio. Property is located at 21 Steiner Drive, Mahopac, New York, tax map 64.5-1-4. The code requires and allows a 15-foot side. The pool is going to be set at 10 feet, a variance of 5 feet is required. And for the deck, 15 side is allowed. Pool deck is 10 feet provided, and a 5-foot variance. So 5-foot variance for both pool and deck are being requested. Bring us through your situation, sir. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, thank you. My little parrot on my shoulder. State your name and address for the record, please,
Silvano Lorenzo, 21 Steiner Drive in Mayapack.
and raise your right hand. Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes, sir.
Thanks. All right, so you didn't put this in yet, right?
No.
So you're looking to put this in. Have you spoke to your neighbors?
Yes.
Anybody have any issues,
No, I
concerns?
mean, I'm well-liked because whenever I do something in the yard, I always ask. I try to be friendly, So everyone is on board with, as far as I know.
Okay.
Especially the neighbor directly, it's going to, go across, next to, I should say.
Right.
You submitted drawings for the structure, which makes Mike pretty happy.
Yes.
It looks like, from the pictures, I didn't get a chance to get out there, but it looks like the house is far enough away from the next neighbor on that side.
Right, the problem is my property is crooked, if you see the
Yeah, it looks like
the way it
it's
is.
downhill.
And, the question is, well, move it over 5 feet. Well, I can't because my septic goes straight down
That's gonna be my
and
next
it
question.
branches to the left. And I'm like 3 feet away. The guy says anything closer than that, like I'm gonna compact the
Yes.
the fields, and he's like, don't even, even that's a little bit too much. So that's why
All right.
I'm 5 feet closer than I have to be,
And
unfortunately.
obviously, there's no property you can buy because you're landlocked there, I'm sure.
No, sir, and I can't go behind me because I have the wet area, what do they call it?
Wetlands.
The wetlands, yeah, so I can't even go to the back.
Was there wetlands on there? I didn't see that.
Good pools make good neighbors.
Yes, sir.
Rose?
No questions.
No questions, thank you.
No questions.
John? No question. Any input from the public on this application? I don't think so. I'll look for a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion to close.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
How long does it take till someone finds out
You
roughly?
can stick around tonight. We're gonna adjudicate
okay.
after we close all the hearings. And then, or you can call tomorrow.
Or you can call
and
tomorrow.
It's up
Give
to
me
you.
Mike's
either one.
office and see. Or you can go back home and watch it on cable. 24 and...
We're almost done.
95.
95.
There we go. We have
Done yet?
Memorex. All right, application number 5, Jose Alescas for a variation of section 156-15, seeking an area variance for permission to retain an existing shed. Property is located at 114 Hill Street, Mahopac, New York, and his tax map 64.18-1-42. Code requires and allows 20-foot side yard for shed. What's provided is 5 feet, and a variance of 15 feet is being requested. Good evening, Joel. We don't have to swear you in. Just state your name and address for the record,
Yes, Joel Greenberg, 2 Muscat, New York, Mahopac, New York.
because Dawn definitely doesn't know who you are. Bring us through your situation here.
As you can see from the survey, this is a fairly large piece of property. It's almost 1 full acre. It's an existing house over here. There was some old lean-tos, I call them, which were here before, which I had removed. I had the client remove them. This particular shed is a full structure with a concrete slab, and it's approximately, it's 5 feet from the property line. The good thing is, there's a fence that goes, if you've been out to the site, there's a fence that goes along the whole property. I have contacted the neighbor here, and they have no problem with having the shed remain. They also wanted to have all the lean-tos gone, which I know that, because I've been out to the site, they're all gone. So basically, it's just a variance to keep the existing shed, and that's, any questions? I'll answer?
What's stored in there?
There's just tools and stuff like that.
How long has the shed been there?
I would say, I honestly don't know, but I would say at least
Long
5 or 6
time.
years. It's been there a long time, maybe 10 years.
Okay, so obviously, if someone had a problem with it, they would have complained.
Yeah, that's correct.
What would be the cost to,
Needs to be paid.
Well,
Perform
the cost would be a
relocating
little
that.
bit more than a normal shed, which is usually on
It's on a concrete
wood
pad.
platform, but this has a full concrete slab, so to replace that is probably in the neighborhood of about $5,000.
okay. John, any questions?
Looks fine.
No questions from me
No
either.
questions.
No questions, thank you.
guys are good down here?
Joel, I went over there, and it's fine. My only concern was that the house behind is kind of close, and he had a lot of wood there. My concern is always with carpenter ants, when there's wood just hanging out. I don't know if you could move it away from the other person's property.
I will have it moved immediately.
That would be
Yes.
great, thank you. You know, I hate to see anybody
No,
hurt by
I
it.
agreed.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Is there any input from the public on this application? I'll look for a motion to close the hearing.
Motion to close.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
I'm
All right,
still here.
You still here? You got one more?
Last
One more.
application is Johnny Reynoso for variation of section 156-15, seeking an area variance for permission to add second-story addition and interior alterations. Property is located at 35 Summit Drive, Hopac, New York. Tax map 86.39-1-31. Code requires and allows 40-foot front on the north, and 38.7 feet are provided. A variance of a whopping 1.3 feet is being requested.
Yeah, I'll explain.
And for the west side, a 40-foot front yard is required, and provided there is a 33-foot dimension, and a variance required or being requested of 7 feet. Joel, you're
Okay,
still sworn
very
in.
interesting.
Bring
I
us
mean,
to-
I'm here since 1969, it's about 53 years, and I've never seen a piece of property. This is over in Lake Baldwin. This piece of property is surrounded by roads on all sides. So basically,
So it's all frontage.
that's right. You got all front yards.
That's a new one on me, too, wow. Been on
This is the
board
same map that was up for the last application, though.
Yeah, but he was
Oh, no, no,
pointing
this
to
is,
the right,
this
now he's going
is,
to the left.
there's two. This is application, this is
got
this
both of them
application.
on one board.
He's being lazy tonight.
I didn't know what was going on. Sorry.
We ran out of boards, and I didn't want to cut down the trees.
He's being conservative.
He's being environmentally.
So anyway, it's a very unusual piece of property, and basically, we're not getting any closer to the property lines than existing, however, because we are squaring off over here and adding a deck, but the setback is the same as the setback is for the house. On this side, also, we're adding a deck on the rear part of the house, and the same thing is, the existing is 33, and it's going to remain 33. So, again, very unusual piece of property. It's, I've never seen anything like it, but it's
So
there.
you're going away from the front lines, and it's less.
Basically, as I said, whatever the setbacks are now, that's going to remain. But,
So there's no property they can purchase?
no, I don't think so.
Summit Street.
Do you have any renderings of what the
Any what?
addition, elevations or renderings what the addition's going to look like?
We've measured up the house, and we're in the process of developing the floor plan and the
Told you
elevations.
they were gonna want them.
What's that?
Told you they wanted them.
Well, no, but
We usually do.
Yeah, I know.
Require it.
I'd like to see
But
those.
again, we did show this is the existing house, these are the decks on either side, and we're just basically raising the roof because the ceilings in the upper floor are low.
Okay. And it looks like on that right side, you step back even further from the front.
Yes,
Right.
actually, we are,
Yeah.
yes.
It's about 5
It
feet.
showed it on the
Yeah,
site plan as well.
this is the actual setback line, so again, it's the same as existing, and the deck will not be any closer, and the same thing over here.
Joel,
Huh?
How many stories?
6.
How many stories?
2.
where's the septic?
Okay, the septic is the septic tank and the septic area over here, and I believe the well is somewhere down over here. What's happening now is, actually, it's a magnificent piece of property, because from this house, you can see, this is like the highest point in Lake Baldwin.
It's a summit?
Summit, yeah, that's why it's called Summit. But it's a magnificent view, and it's a huge piece of property.
Okay.
So.
Any questions from the
We're
board?
not adding any bedrooms, not subtracting any bedrooms, just keeping everything the same.
No,
guys good
it's,
down here?
it's staying on the footprint,
Yes.
so the variances are small, so I have no objections.
Bill, you
The
good?
No
decks are not
questions,
staying.
thank
What's
you,
that?
Joe.
The decks are going off the footprint.
Well, yes, but they're not getting any closer than that.
No, but I just want to make sure she knows.
Yeah.
They're adding decks off the footprint.
To the side.
But on the other side.
Yeah.
The back, which is too close to the
Right, in other
other
words.
front.
In other words,
To this front.
the corner of the house over here is 33 feet, and what I did was I extended the line to, parallel to the property lines, so I made sure the deck that we're adding here is also 33 feet.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the same thing on the other side, by the front of the house. I made sure that the deck was laid out so that, as you can see over here, so that the setback is the same as the house.
Okay.
All right.
I would have loved to have seen elevations to see what you were doing, but never mind.
When I do it, I will get you.
Yeah,
No, but
it's
Joel,
after
we
the fact.
usually, it doesn't have to be full-blown drawings, but even just renderings or quick hand sketches, whatever, we like, it helps us envision
Okay,
three-dimensionally
I
what's going to be there.
apologize, and
Right.
we'll do that from
But
now on.
I think this is pretty
easy.
self-explanatory. But, generally, we like to see that.
Just out of curiosity, Mike, is there any other piece of property in Carmel that looks like this? I mean, all 4 sides?
Not where somebody has the whole Not where somebody has the whole piece. None I'm aware of.
Oh, yeah, I can understand, yeah, if it was split, yeah, but This is,
It's an island unto
it's
itself.
an island, that's right, an island unto itself.
John, you good?
No questions.
All right,
Looks
any
good.
input from the public on this application?
Yeah, my associate approves it.
I'll look for a motion to close the hearing.
Motion to close.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. At this point, we're going to close the public hearing portion of this meeting, and we will adjudicate. Application number 1, John Regan. I'll look for a motion. Oh, that's, I'm sorry, that's held over.
I mean, that's held over, sorry.
Sorry, going on in order here on the paper. New application is Christina Felizardo. I'll look for a motion.
I make a motion to amend the previous decision in order of the board dated February 27th, 2020, that adds that the applicant, in addition to the man-made fence for the first 48.49 feet, may plant shrubbery, trees, or natural growth, which may exceed the 4-foot height.
Okay, do I have a second to that motion?
Second.
Second.
Second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, that's granted as amended. Number 3, Brown and Russell.
Motion to grant.
Do I have a
Second.
second? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
That's granted. Number 4, DiRenzo, look for a motion.
Motion to grant?
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That's granted. Number 5, Aleskis, look for a motion.
Motion to grant.
Second.
Seconded by Silvio. Any discussion? Okay, that's granted.
Up. All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
I'm trying
You
not
had
to
a-
rush
You had a
this.
good rhythm.
I'm
You had a
trying
good
not to
rhythm. You
rush
blew.
this.
You blew a tire in that one.
Application number 6, Reynoso. Look
Motion
for
to
a
grant.
Second. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, that's granted.
Punch
All right, minutes from February 24th.
God.
And, or,
Well, I guess anybody have any issues with the minutes from February 24th or March 24th of 2022?
No.
Do I have a motion to
Motion
accept
to
both
accept.
minutes?
Motion to accept.
Do I have a second?
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion to close this
So
meeting
moved.
this evening. Do I
All
have a
in
second?
favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thank you.
Have a
See
good
you
night, everyone.
next month.